Okay, I believe we are preparing to live stream. I don't know if that works. Got it. Oh, it says it's being live streamed, so that's good. Okay, we're not quite ready to start yet. Hello, everybody out there. We are doing something that has never never been tried before. That was really loud. We are in a metaverse digital twin hosting a Zoom meeting that is being broadcast live on YouTube. So that makes it very interesting. Yep. So there is a high probability that we'll get a lot of feedback if someone is on both the YouTube video and in the metaverse. So we'll keep an eye on that. If you do hear some feedback, please mute your mic. That may help a little bit. Otherwise, I can pop in and mute everybody's mic, and then we can get going. But I do see it's top of the hour, so you know what? I'm going to kick this off. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. There's this notion of the metaverse, and what is it? Facebook, for the most part, in the last few days, has really made some headlines related to building out the metaverse and what could it mean. There's a category or a name that they use called digital twin, which in reality causes quite a bit of confusion. There's our industry, in the architectural industry, in the built environment industry, the term digital twin has already been used. So that's really where I wanted to start, in helping define what digital twin is and what it means, and the differences between the building information model digital twin and the metaverse digital twin. That being said, I think I'm going to start a little bit by talking about what the metaverse is, and then I'm going to ask Vic a little bit about the building information model digital twin. Cognitive does play in both worlds quite well, but today we're talking about the metaverse. And as such, I want to give everybody a little bit of pro tips who are joining us in the digital twin. If you use the Q and E key on your keyboard, that will spin your body so that you can turn in the digital twin and get a better view of the screens that you may want to see. You may also use the W, A, S, and D key. Just play around with them. It'll take steps basically on your virtual body, and it'll help you navigate around the room. The Q and E key is your friend in the twin universe, in the metaverse. It will again twist your body, and it'll let you know, or let you see, I should say, different things by spinning your body in the metaverse. So what is the metaverse? Our version, Cognitive's version of the metaverse digital twin, is an exact copy, at least as good a copy as can be, of your physical office spaces contained in the cloud. That cloud model also contains collaboration tools, such as you see here in our room. It lets you do video conferencing. It lets you look at presentations together, lets you have virtual conversations with others in a same virtual room. And it lets you look at certain 3D models in the space as well. So I'm going to hit this button and see what happens. So there we go. So that being said, what I would like to do, hey, look at that. You guys are all standing around me now. Cool. Little creepy though. You're all kind of hanging around me. With that being said, Vic, let me back up a little bit and ask you, in the built environment world, there's this thing called a digital twin, and it helps us manage our facilities. But, traditionally, what has that let us do, right? Can you give us a little insight into what that is?
Yeah, so, obviously we are all kind of learning some new terminology with the word metaverse and the concept of digital twins. I think the digital twin technology, as it relates to building information management and building systems management, is really a way to look at a 3D model of a building system and use that in a way that's very disruptive, but allows the facilities manager to predict system maintenance, repair schedules, use IoT technology, but also be able to manipulate and manage the systems as they are a digital representation of the actual system or mechanism. And so when we talk about a metaverse, you're talking about an environment, just like you mentioned, where you can have a room where everybody's collaborating and you have all the tools at your disposal to work as if you're actually live and physically present in that metaverse. This is the same type of thing, but it relates specifically to the maintenance of building systems and HVAC, mechanical, electrical, boilers, chillers, the whole 9 yards. If you have sensor technology that exists within those systems, you can use that, and you can use the data that those sensors are putting out to determine maintenance schedules and do your capital planning in a much better way. And a lot of facilities managers, the ones that get fired tend to get fired because of unbudgeted expenses, not because they've really done anything incorrectly in their jobs. It's just that it's very difficult to predict system failure. But when you have a digital twin technology and you have predictive analytics technology and you have sensor data, you can actually see when certain building systems are going to fail, different parts are going to fail, and you can sort of get ahead of that. That's where the confusion is in the whole terminology of digital twin. I see, what we're talking about here today mostly with you is the metaverse, in which we're going to collaborate, and that allows us to create a very high functioning virtual reality world for employee interaction and workplace design efforts and kind of fly throughs, so you can see what the physical space looks like. So there's a lot of applications to this technology, but that's where the version of digital twin that I'm familiar with is more in the predictive analytics side of the business.
Yeah, very, very good, Vic. There's this notion, and it's been around since 1978. It's called intelligent building. And really, it was taking the systems of a building and automating them. In this century, like 2001, 2002, we started being able to take the data or those systems and represent them in a 3D model using BIM. And I think that's really what has become the definition in the built environment as a digital twin. Now, in the metaverse, which we now have about 14 people in, it's something that's a bit different. In the metaverse, for those just joining, Cognitive's definition of a metaverse digital twin is an exact copy, or at least as good a copy as can be, of our physical office spaces in the cloud. That includes some additional communication and collaboration tools, such as you see here. Just a quick announcement for you guys that's just joined. The Q and E key are your bestest friends in the digital twin metaverse. Q and E helps spin your body so that you can see different things in the room. And W, A, S, and D keys are the keys that allow you to take steps within the space. So what is the metaverse to us? The metaverse to us is a playground at the moment. It's certainly not something that every enterprise would want to do, and then this becomes their meeting technology. I think it will become that. I think it's very early in the development cycle for the digital twin and the metaverse. I think there's lots of different approaches that you can take in order to do a metaverse-like deployment for what you're attempting to do. There's a notion that seems to be catching on that as you onboard new employees that have never been to your office space, it would make a lot more sense to do that in a metaverse digital twin. You can onboard them doing the training, you can show them around, you can kind of help them understand the layout of the office so that it's not quite such a shock when they actually go into the office. The other notion is, how can I give a sense of community, even a sense of community within a playground, let's say, for teams that have been disparate and not really met in person, say for a year and a half. And the metaverse is a way to do that. Our metaverse, the one that you're in right now, is our own digital twin. And then the room that you're in right now is the one that we use for live presentations. If you had your own metaverse, let's say, it would be a copy of your office, but it could be a copy of your office set to different themes. It could be a theme for football fans, American football fans, and an entirely different one with different furnishings and different videos and different artwork for let's say European football. Or let your imagination run wild there for a second. But you could have gathering nights where you host team events in those particular themes. And again, it helps develop a sense of community. Now, again, is this something that's enterprise technology and is going to replace our physical office right now? No, absolutely not. There'll be many different versions of metaverse as it comes, but there are some very good use cases that this can be used for right now. And again, it's a matter of we believe at Cognitive of bringing in a copy as best we can of your physical office space, your current physical office spaces, into the cloud, and being able to live in that cloud from a virtual perspective and have meetings and conversations there. Where we're very quickly going is a hybrid, if you will, between the metaverse digital twin and the facility digital twin. So we very soon will have the ability as an industry to bring in building information into the digital twin. And it might be number of people in a room, it might be indoor air quality, it could be any number of things that your building is taking a peek at that you might be interested in knowing before you even go into the physical office. So just keep that in mind. This is a playground. This is something that is becoming a reality. There'll be many, many versions of this. And I will say to my fans here, and my friends here, and we'll cut this out of the recorded session. We do have plans, Cognitive has plans to launch a service that will bring your current workplace plans, current building plans into the cloud, such that you see here. We also have plans to work with your designers who are working on your updated post-COVID workplaces as a service to bring those new designs into the cloud so that you potentially can do A/B comparisons. So do you want a big screen on the right and a big screen on the left, or do you want only a big screen on the right? You can do that through in a virtual walkthrough, those sort of 3D fly-throughs that they have in the BIM model. But this is so much better to be able to do that. You get a sense for what the space feels like in this virtual world. You can be in it. You can actually use some of the technology virtually to make sure that it works for you. That being said, I'm just going to kind of leave it open for Vic and Mike to have a couple of questions or maybe further comments. And then I think we just kind of take a walking tour and let you guys mess around in our model for a bit. Guys, any final thoughts or comments?
Hello?
Well, there we go. I hear Vic.
There we go. Sorry, I had the wrong mute button on. I was just going to add, one of the use cases that always comes to mind when I see this, because I've worked with clients before that were trying to create basically the ability to reach salespeople in the field to do product trainings, to do new product awareness campaigns. And they, had to build out, elaborate green screen rooms and that type of thing, and practically get actor-based individuals to do that. And here you can kind of see that you could do, that virtually right now, right? So just imagine the amount of cost that comes out of an organization because of having to have individuals travel to each of the sales locations, in some cases around the world.
Good. That's a good thought, Mike. All right.
Yeah, James, I'm in the room now.
Oh, there you go.
Hope I'm not giving you an echo here, but I just joined and walked around a little bit, so I'm excited to tour it.
I am going to head outside here, and I'm going to bring everybody with me in just a second. Hello once more, my friends. Now you are here. You have the ability to free range, if you will. Mike and I will be available to answer questions if you need to. Mike and Vic, you can drop the Zoom meeting so that you don't have any kind of feedback loops. That would probably work really well. Everybody on the call might be able to unmute your mics, I expect. And that'll be good. There we go. Yeah, so everybody, feel free to come off mute if you want and have a conversation with us. Otherwise, what you can do is free range a bit, right? Your W, A, S, and D key are your bestest friends in the whole wide world. And what they will do is allow you to move about the space. When you see videos, the videos might be auto playing, and there might be some presentations on the wall. Those are group videos, so you see those, right? So wherever they are, everybody sees the same thing. But to hear them, you have to go into the room and you have to unmute the video so that you can hear it. So you personally control the video that you hear. If you were to leave that room, you would still be hearing that video. So make sure that you mute that video before you leave where you're headed there. Like, oh, look, I can see myself back here. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and then I'm going to sort of randomly go around here and give you a sense for what's happening in each one of these spaces. You will notice, though, that there's blue lines in our model. There's blue lines. These are acoustical boundaries. So that if you're inside that box, you are contained in a privacy bubble. So if you're having a conversation in there, you shouldn't be able to hear what's happening out here. And the folks who were just in our meeting quality room, you probably couldn't hear what I was saying because you were in the acoustical boundary. Anything inside that blue box, when you're inside that blue box, is basically a privacy zone. So as you're having a conversation in that space, it doesn't affect others outside of that. Let me give you a sense for this meeting quality space over here. Meeting quality is a software as a solution that is wholly unique to Cognitive. There's a cognitive version of meeting quality that allows us to monitor or quantify the effect of remote work and subsequently hybrid work on our projects, on our teams, and on our individuals across a number of different dimensions. Not the least of which would be employee engagement, project risk, and team cohesion. So how is the team working? Employee burnout, sustainable productivity are all things that we can get by using this service as software as a service. Now, when you apply that to location, what we're able to find, and we're in the midst of a very large scale research project, we'll be able to determine how much remote work is affecting our ability to bring in projects and the quantity and to quantify the effect that has on teams. And then subsequently, when we're back in the office, or maybe we're in a third location, such as a coffee shop, again, we'll have the ability to quantify the impacts that has on team dynamics and project success. So we're very excited by that solution. If we head on down over here to Envoy. Envoy is a very interesting solution set. It's a very big solution set, primarily intended to help you with managing your teams that are in the office. So there's applications for check-in, employee check-in, guest check-in, Wi-Fi access, desk booking, services. I mean, it really is a singular platform that you can deploy to help in regards to your employee experience or occupant experience in your facilities. We are a partner of Envoy, and there's some very interesting things to be had there. MoodSonic, as we head down here. MoodSonic, I can start that video there. MoodSonic is a solution that allows you to bring in ambient sounds into your physical space. Right now, we're working with them potentially to bring this into the digital space. That's proven to increase productivity and relaxation and improve your mood. Now, one of the interesting I guess, demonstrations of that is if you go all the way down here to where this tree is, you'll be able to hear some nature sounds as an ambient sound. And it becomes quite relaxing at times. This is actually where I spend most of my time, down here at the end of the space. And you can kind of hear a little bit of bird sound, little bird song in the background. And that makes sense because you can see a little bit of a happy digital tree there. So that becomes very interesting, I think. I'm going to check chat here real fast. team dynamics measurements would be incredibly valuable. Would never be able to quantify that outside of a survey. You know, it is interesting. There's a couple of ways to do that. Ultimately, it is done via survey. What we have done is we've partnered with Meeting Quality, and we've built, for lack of a better word, a 45-second or less survey. Ours takes much less than 45 seconds. That's generated at the beginning of every meeting, project meeting. It's assumed that a project has a longer time frame, has recurring meetings, it has a defined team. So by issuing this survey that has about 4 to 5 questions, again, takes less than 45 seconds, we can show trends over time as it relates to your own perception and the perceptions of others to your contribution to the meeting. So that's how we define the team dynamics piece of it. There's other ways that we can get to that data, but this is the easiest, lightest lift, fastest way to get that information, and it's been proven to be very effective as to what's happening. There's another question, a statement on chat that says, hey, it's a little difficult to hear other people. There's spatial audio in here. So the further you get away from the talker, the further the way the voice sounds. Unless I hit this thing, this is a big megaphone. So now everybody can hear my voice as if they're standing next to me. All those way down there on the other end, I wanted you to know that this digital twin, this metaverse, has spatial audio. So the further you are away from someone who is speaking, the less you'll be able to hear them. And that's how that piece works. And again, everybody on the call, you're more than welcome to come off mute, have a conversation with us, have conversations with others. That's 90% of the fun of being in a digital twin and being able to do that, right? In each room zone. Oh yeah, yep. Unless you're in a room that has a zone, right? If you're in a privacy room or a privacy zone, which is those blue squares on the bottom, then you won't be able to hear what's happening outside. But you can watch the videos, right? So I'm going to scoot over here, zoomity zoom zoom, and I'm going to stand right over here. There's a really funny video in here, which is our commercial, which everybody's got to have a chance to take a peek at. And I'm just going to let you guys explore. I mean, that's it in a nutshell for us. I really want everyone to have an opportunity to explore Meeting Quality. I really do think, honestly, truly, at my heart of hearts, believe this is the solution that everyone's asking for right now. How are the teams doing? What's the risk to my projects now that we are in an extended period of time from remote work or non-in-office work? Really, we're in a time frame where the teams haven't been face-to-face for an extended period of time. Is that having an impact on our team dynamics and our ability to bring projects in? I can tell you, based on the early data that I've seen from our research project, that it is absolutely affecting project delivery. Remote work, working from home, is absolutely affecting our ability to bring in projects. There's no doubt about it. And it's negative in its effect. Oh yeah, how would we interact with someone who's physically in the space? We are working on that. Right now, that's in this version of the metaverse. There's not the ability to bring in a physical person in the space into the digital universe unless they're an avatar that's much like you. That is very close to the next generation of metaverse. They'll be brought in a little bit ghosted, kind of like a video of them, and they'll be placed at the desk where they're sitting. So you'll be able to see them and they'll be able to see you in the virtual world. It requires some technology right now that's a little bit bleeding edge. You can see some of those demos from Oculus in Facebook. You can have a sidebar with an avatar. You just need to make sure you're in the same room. If I understand that question, Mike, maybe you come off mute and ask it in a different way.
Can you hear me?
Yep, sure can.
Okay. No, I was just interested if I was standing next to somebody while you were talking, could I address the avatar next to me as if we're going to have a sidebar?
Oh, yeah. Not exactly. You can, if they have their name there, you can bring them off mute and then ask a question. But you can say, like, I can walk up to Vic and I can say, "Hey, Vic, you want to go in a room and have a conversation, or is everything making sense?" Kind of a thing. But they would need to be off mute to be able to answer that for you. Yeah, for a private conversation, or really just any one of these privacy boxes. So when I go into a privacy box, in theory, you shouldn't be able to hear me. Okay, yeah. So if you go into a privacy box, it becomes a private conversation. Yep. And again, guys, this is we're playing around a bit here, and that's what the metaverse is right now. It's a little bit of a playground, but valuable playground.
Yeah. I haven't figured that one out yet. I'm trying to figure that out right now. Where is the avatar? Oh, I like the mohawk there.
There we go. Now we're getting some conversation.
How do I do that?
If you're logged in, there's this sort of rainbow looking thing in the upper right hand side, blue, green, red, that you should be able to modify your avatar in. Yeah, everybody's modifying their avatar. Makes it easier to find you, actually, if you look a little bit like yourself. Right. I'm going to stop my video. There we go.
So what is the economic play here? So you're downloading and then giving us access to these tools. Or is it like pay to play, or do you open it up to a whole organization, or how does it work?
So it's the model. I'll be honest, the model's still being defined. We have some notions of what that could be. Our partner here, Frame VR, is in beta. So this is a beta piece of software that we are using, and we are in conversations with them on how best to bring this particular technology to market. Cognitive is agnostic at the moment in terms of cloud software to bring in these models. We do feel at the moment, though, from a browser-based solution, Frame VR is best of breed, which is why we're using it in this demo. So how we would monetize that, how Cognitive would monetize that, is one, we would need to have a sense for the number of spaces that you have. And now we're going to have a bunch of dogs barking in a second, so I apologize for that. So we'll get that into our digital model as well. One, we need to have a sense for the spaces that you want to have. Each space can take about 100 people from a meeting perspective. There's my doggies barking. So we would build that model based on that. And so each team basically would have an instance of their digital twin. Alrighty then, I'm back. Sorry about that. So the short answer, the very, very short answer is it's as a service. It's a monthly fee. It's typically invoiced quarterly, or we can do yearly invoices. But since it's as a fee, that includes an update to the models in your workplace, and it includes, at least for the moment, any number of trainings that you might need on how to use it and take advantage of it. So hopefully that answered your question, sir.
Well, the next logical question is, what is your monthly rate right now?
Well, let's talk about that, right? And we can do that offline, right? So, because this is a recorded session, every broadcast live. I have no idea who else is listening over on the YouTube side of the house, but I'd love to have that conversation with you. And really, it'd be a good conversation. We're looking for data for research, number one. Number two, we want to make sure that this has the impact that we think it has. So, and it really, and the other piece, it depends on your current ability to generate a model, or whether or not we would have to generate a model. In many cases, if you have a BIM model already done of your space, it's a fairly simple process to take that BIM model into the model that we would need, put it into the metaverse, and then we just need to decorate it so that it matches your office, and then you're off and running. But a conversation I'm absolutely would like to have with you. I believe you have my email address. So let's set up a time and have that conversation.
Yeah, I've got a bunch more questions along the lines that probably don't want to go on the recording right now.
Oh, fair enough. Well, maybe. Well, no, I don't. Yeah, if you feel that it's not appropriate for the recording, then yeah, we can. So really, here's how we do that. We could hop right back in this, after in a non-recorded session. You could bring in some others, and we could have a conversation about what all this could be and what it means right in the model. If there's any designers in the meeting right now, architects and designers, we also have a very interesting ability to bring in the 3D model right into the space and let everybody look at it, and kind of stand around it, like in the space that we're in now. So we don't have to like create the metaverse and then you can walk through it, although that's the second step. But if it's a very early model, and you're doing some very interesting, what ifs, then you can bring that as a smaller model and pull it apart. We also have a little bit of feedback there. That's okay though.
It's a ghost.
It's a ghost recording. Yeah. Well, that's expected. We're doing something that's never been done before, and it's probably not something you'd ever want to do. And that is, we're in a digital twin metaverse model, hosting a Zoom meeting, broadcasting live on YouTube. So there is a very high probability that something like the feedback could happen, and a very high probability that you could have a driver conflicts. Right? Yeah. I mean, that really goes to show that this version is from Frame VR, and their technology is really pretty sturdy for what we're trying to do and everything we're putting it through right now. It's also one of the advantages of working with Kognitiv. We realize sensor companies are going to come and go. Sensor software companies are going to be in business and out of business. What Kognitiv does as a partner for our customers is we make sure there's continuity across vendors. And to be fair, if you have a fairly large footprint, even a medium-sized corporate real estate footprint, you probably have everything deployed. So the one thing that we do is we bring that all that data into a single place in order for you to gain those insights from your physical workplace. And then this is a newer solution for us. It's new for everybody, being able to take your physical space into the cloud version of it. And really, I don't know if I mentioned this or not. Maybe I mentioned it earlier in a different presentation, but this technology is cool and interesting, and it's fun, and it's kind of gamification for us. But for the next generation or the generation after that, it's just very intuitive. They just live in these spaces. This is how they do things, are in these worlds, and I think it'll be very intuitive for them to be able to have meetings and interact with people in both the physical space and the digital twin space. And I think it's sort of the future of video conferencing. But again, we got a long way to go before we're there, for sure. Cool. Look at you guys. I see all kind of folks.
On purpose. Is somebody typing the pink noise in, or
Oh,
somebody sitting in a restaurant?
you are. I piped it in. Thank you for pointing that out. In the main hallway, there is ambient sounds being played. That is cafe sounds. And the further away from the main hallway that you move, the further away that sound is. There's this notion of, hey, how do I make an physical office feel comfortable, whether it's got 9 people in it or 900 people in it? And the way to do that is ambient sound, right? At least in large part, ambient sound. And that's one of the reasons that we've partnered with Mood Sonic. You can create different environments using different ambient sounds. This one happens to be a cafe. And then the one over by the tree is more of a nature sound. But that's really a good virtual way of experiencing that. Yeah, and it becomes really compelling when you put on VR goggles. If you're that that advanced, although it's a little weird to have VR goggles on. But if you're used to wearing VR goggles, all you have to do is from your browser in your VR set, go to this frame, framevr.io.cognitive.corp, and you are in the virtual world truly, as opposed to this two-dimensional model that you see in the browser. And it becomes even more compelling in that regard. So perhaps something to try if you happen to have a pair of VR goggles lying about. Many of our kids do. I did, and I was absolutely blown away. Another point of topic, from the main hallway, you can see 4 pieces of art. Those pieces of art, I am very hopeful, is part of the Collective Common license to be able to use anywhere you want. But they are also pieces of art that are sitting in museums at the moment. These are real pieces of art, and the museums have digitized that artwork and made it available for public consumption. And we've brought it into our model. So if you get really close to it, you can even see the brush strokes and the height of the paint, that's on this art. And that opens up a whole different, very confusing world related to NFTs and non-fungible tokens and buying, digital things online. And I don't want to get too deep into that, but it's an example at the moment, certainly, of being able to mirror the type of artwork and decor that you have in your physical space in this digital world. So really there's not much that we can't do. I even have the ability, I'm going to try it right now, to bring in an actual 3D camera photo shoot of a piece of New York City. So I'm going to go way down here where that tree is. And it's heavy lifting for this thing, so hopefully everybody doesn't get kicked out. But I'm going to do this in near real time, I think. Maybe. Yep, here we go. All right, give me a second. Building, processing. Oh, it worked. Look at that. So if you guys want to experience a piece of New York City, I got it right down here for you. And it was simply brought in as a model directly from New York. It was just a photo shoot that from a 3D camera in that space. I got to position it. That's probably good enough. There. That's pretty close. Now it's normally I'd put it in the corner over there to make it look a little better and not block those offices, but there. You guys get a sense for what that looks like. There.
Hey James.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, sure can.
how you doing?
Doing quite well. How are you?
I'm fine. What are you? It's always. What do you think of this? Is your first time in a space like this, or?
I'll be honest. It's my first time hosting a meeting in a space like this. Oh, sorry, Michael. Were you over here, bud? There we go. Sorry, I stepped out of the acoustical boundary. My apologies. My first time hosting a meeting in a space like this. Yeah.
How you find it? Sorry, James. I'm not sure who you are. Who are you working for? Are you representing one of the organisations?
Oh yeah, no worries. I apologize. I should have done an introduction. I'm just so excited to get into the tech. I'm James Waddell. I'm an executive vice president here at Cognitive. I manage our services organization. You'll also see Mike Piscini running around a bit. I think Mike's just to my right, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So we both represent Cognitive here, and that's who we are.
Okay. And how? You said is this your first event?
It is using this technology, correct?
So you use other technologies.
Yep.
What else have you been using then?
Well, from a cloud-based perspective, from a metaverse perspective, we've tried many of the technologies that are out there. We can't say that we've tried them all, but what we found so far is Frame VR is what we would consider leading the class in browser-based metaverse capabilities. Most of the others require downloads, which isn't bad. You get a greater functionality from the downloads, but most of our corporate customers won't permit downloads of that nature, but they will allow this type of browser-based interactions.
Yeah, do you have an issue with firewalls and VPNs?
Potentially. I haven't seen that yet in this browser-based piece. Everything seems to be working pretty well because it uses the standard ports in normal web browsing to be able to function.
Yeah, this is like this is very similar to Verdella in places,
Hmm.
and Mozilla hubs. You're not sitting on Mozilla, are you? Or are you?
No, this company. No, I don't think it is. This company is owned by Verbella. Is it? Are you saying Verbella?
Well, I'm in Edinburgh, so in the UK are probably strange pronunciations.
Right. Yeah.
Verdella.
Yeah. No worries. So yeah, they are partnered with Verbella. Verbella is the parent company of Frame VR. So when I mentioned we were in conversations and partnerships with both, we are in fact in partnerships with Verbella as well. They do require a download. They do have much greater functionality in terms of a campus environment. So being able to pull in lots of different offices, say into buildings, and those buildings are built into campuses, and that's very exciting. And we look forward to additional conversations with them.
How are you finding it with your customers? I mean, how's the market for you?
Right. I mean, you're looking at the launch right now, to be honest with you. We haven't discussed this with anybody. We're still pulling together what our service offerings could be. I will tell you, I think there's a large amount of excitement from the design community, being able to bring in their current workplace designs that they're providing their customers into the cloud and have it functioning and usable in terms of meetings. That's something that's exciting to them, and it's different than what they're used to. And ultimately, that would be our customer. One of our primary customers is the design community.
Yeah, we've looked at a number of things like Gather, and we've adapted certain things as well.
Mhm.
And I've seen this space before. This is quite familiar. This is, as you said, the VR frame space.
Yep.
So I've been in one of these before.
Yep.
It's interesting to see what you've done to it. I really kind of we're not sure about this tech in terms of working. It depends what you're trying to do.
Yep.
I guess. And I just noticed coming in here myself. Well, I wouldn't say I was an expert in these sort of spaces, but I've been to one or two before, so it took me a while to familiarise myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I remembered I had to go and get the avatar sorted out, and then I adapted that. And then you have to pick up a bit of courage to go and speak to somebody. You
do. Yeah, you really do. And
yeah, exactly. Which is cool.
Well, yeah, it's a little cultural too. I mean, is it a game? Is it, what's proper etiquette? And then you got to get through the first pieces if you're not a game player, right? How do I move left and right? How do I spin around? It's interesting, right? I mean, and that's why we say it's an interesting gamification right now, right? It's something that we're playing with, that the world's playing with, we're experimenting with it. There'll be many iterations of this type of technology that's related to metaverse in the coming years. But I think right now it behooves everyone to start thinking about it and what that means in terms of our corporate real estate portfolio.
And you're framing it in terms of the metaverse, and you're framing it in terms of gamification. This is language because it's quite it's quite a confusing space out there, isn't it? Remote work, hybrid work, and all that sort of stuff. Gaming and the metaverse and all sorts of stuff. Finding a language that people understand and relate to is a bit of a challenge when you're sort of pioneering.
Well, there's so much tension, aggravation, misunderstanding, just in general right now about, hey, do I have to come in the office or can I work from home? And I get it, which is why we really focus on our solution that we call Meeting Quality, which helps define that. How well we really are working remotely or hybrid and in the office or third place, and being able to quantify that. But
So what would somebody what's the ideal client look like? What does the ideal scenario look like to you? What do you want somebody to say to you? Yeah, that's what we want to do. What if you were just starting out on this?
we have customers who have said we're looking for new ways of getting work done. What can you show us, right? Based on your research or just based on who you guys are. We then say, hey, let's talk about the metaverse and what that means. There are many options, but this is one that you potentially could use. And we talk about this solution. And we say this makes sense if you copy your existing physical workplace into the cloud. And now you have the ability to meet virtually in your office. It gives you a sense of connection to your physical space until you can go back. So those types of clients.
Are you saying that you would make a digital copy of their existing office
Yep.
identity?
As identical as we could, right? So we don't want to get into extraordinary detail, but you should be able to recognize the space, right? And it should feel very similar to the space in the cloud world or the metaverse world, in the physical world. So the furniture should look similar. The color of the furniture should look similar. The layout in the office certainly similar. The lighting, the colors should all be similar.
And it's a big leap for an organisation. So would you start with a pilot or a trial or something, or how would you go about it?
The best approach is to take a workplace for a team. Like, say it's a 50 or 60 person team. Let's just say it's a team under 50, right? Maybe it's software development, maybe it's whatever that project team is. What's the space that they work in? It's probably an office floor, right? That they're used to working in, or maybe a segment of an office floor. That would be the good first pilot. And that would really help us define what they want, where they want to go from there. If it's a 9,000 person firm and suddenly that took off, Frame VR is probably not the right solution for them. It would be more along the Verbella universe that we're able to pull them in, right? Because you can start meshing the workplaces together and create a campus. So right now we're focused on the teams and building a digital metaverse for a team that mirrors the physical space.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. What made you go for this type of Frame VR? Why Frame VR? Why not other technologies?
It's a couple of things, right? First was the usability of our own customers. Is it generally accepted from an IT perspective? And then the ports that they use, does it require download? Is it relatively easy to use? And features and function sets. So based on our review of this existing systems or software that's out there, we landed on Frame VR as being one that would be most likely to be accepted by our customers based on the constraints that we already know about. And really, the big one comes down to downloading. Many of our customers, they're locked down or they're virtual. They're all virtual machines that you can't install any software on, but you can certainly go through a browser. Right.
Well, thank you very much, James. I'm going to have a wander around. I wish you the very best.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, by all means.
Come and check us out if you want. We're in a similar sort of space, but we haven't gone. We're not going down this. We're interested in this. We've looked at VR frames.
Yeah.
And we're agnostic about this sort of stuff.
Right.
But it's very interesting. It's just trying to find. It's very nascent, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Well, shoot me a note. Let's continue the conversation. I'm sure we could find ways to work together. There's in an emerging market, it's always best to tie your nets together, right? So you catch more fish that way, and to learn from each other.
You see, that's quite interesting because we're knitting the two together. We're sort of building virtual workplaces in a 2D environment, and we are looking at platforms like this for, give an example, like veterinary practices or engineering businesses, where I notice you brought in 3D picture there.
Right.
We're working and designing these sorts of spaces, as technical spaces, where perhaps an engineering business can bring in, part of a bridge or something.
Right.
And there are apprenticeships and their engineers and their customers from across the globe come together and look at it, in one place.
I think that's an excellent use case model. Really, I do. And that's one of the use case models I think Frame VR is shooting for, where you could collaborate in a 3D space, right? From a 3D digital twin of a product or an item.
Well, I'll let you into a little secret, James. One of my partners, he's very keen on Frame VR.
Mhm.
And I'm less keen.
Well,
I like the marriage together. You see,
right.
I think when you're launching, you have to, and you're building a business, you have to make a decision to follow something, don't you?
Well, yeah, you have to have
technology.
we call it reference architectures, right? So, and we know the solution sets will change over time, but the impact or the solution is still needed by our customers. So, and to that point, we're agnostic, right? So as the technology changes, as something better comes out, that's a better technology that meets the need, that is a solution, then because we're a subscription service, we'll just automatically roll into that with their permissions, of course. And there'll be a transition plan and all the normal change management stuff.
The SaaS model is the way to go.
Right.
Why don't you? I'm conscious you probably want to see some other people. Why don't you come to our place?
Yeah.
And come have a chat with us, and let's see if we can.
Love that.
Some collaboration there, because I think it's a big market.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's blue ocean. Yeah. So.
And we're friendly with Labella and people like Gather and one or two other people, but we're in the UK.
Right.
We're in Edinburgh and London at the moment, and we've got some interesting things going on. But it would be great because we only have limited resources, and I'm sure you do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So where are you guys based, James? I should know this.
We're all very virtual at the moment, but for the most part, our executive team is located in and around Greater Chicago. So in the U.S., yep.
That's where I really want to find that.
Yep. There you go.
Is that the East Coast of Liberty Engine?
Yeah, we're an hour difference, right? So it's that not, I do a lot of global stuff, right? So I send emails and I'm up at all strange hours, so not a problem.
Yeah, I see actually on your guest list today, Tika Hessing, who we know from, she was at Cushman Wakefield, but she's in Sydney. Yeah,
right. I know there's a lot of people in Australia. It makes it interesting when you have a global meeting when in Australia, Germany, and East and West Coast U.S. It's almost impossible to find the time to meet, but we have those from time to time.
It's tricky. Our experience has been amazing in that I've never known a platform. We launched our sort of office in March, and it's a new business, and I've done lots of things in the past. I'm sure you have, James. But it's been amazing the people and organisations we've had from people like PwC to big friends of ours like Evershed and all sorts of things, and from Zendesk and California and all over the place. Some amazing conversations which you would never have dreamed of. And I also thought it would be really difficult to make relationships remotely.
You're right. Well, the pandemic. I mean, every really bad thing has somewhat of a silver lining, and at the very least, what we can say is the pandemic has driven the corporate real estate teams to be very experimental in what they need to be doing. And it opens up lots of conversations. And I think this conversation fits right into that type of thinking.
Brilliant. James, I've got your LinkedIn details here, James, I think.
Yeah, please do. Send me a note. Yeah, please.
Let's continue the conversation. Come to our place and give us a critique. That would be lovely.
Love it.
And let's see. Let's have that conversation and see where it goes to. But meanwhile, I'm going to let you crack on. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll ping you an email and let's catch up.
Sounds great. Thanks for dropping in.
You're very welcome, James.
Yep.
All right,
Bye-bye. Hello, just passing through. What do we got over here? Oh, that was odd. How did I do that? Hello, hello. Feel free to ask me any questions you may have. I'm going to pop on over here in the corner.